Husband secretly filmed his secretary. Now I'm sifting through his devices to uncover more secrets before confronting him. Married since 3 years, in a relationship since over 5 years. After a long academic journey, we are both at the start of our careers and being pretty successful doing so. Recently bought our dream house together and simply enjoying the few years we got left to do whatever we like, since we're planning on having kids in a couple of years from now. Our relationship felt, to me like it's made to last forever. We're sharing the same values, same humor, same goals. Also, we're both old and experienced enough to tell it's not just puppy love or anything like that. We both share pretty much open phone policy, which just came natural, sharing pictures, simple grabbing the next device available to look something up, etc. We both own iPhones, and I recently stumbled across the possibility to mask/fade out, sorry, I don't know the exact term, pictures, and they will only appear in special folder. Mea culpa, mea maxima culpa, that caught my attention concerning his phone. So last Monday, when he went for his swim training, he left his phone at home and I went for it. What I found was beyond every expectation I've had. I thought maybe I would find some random porn or even pictures of his ex or something like that. I found pictures and slow-mo videos he took in the office over a span of a few weeks of his, now, former secretary. She is a 21-year-old pretty attractive girl. He recently got a new job and the pictures started around the time he knew he would quit his old job and therefore probably wouldn't see her again. The pictures mainly focused on her ass, her legs, her heels. There were also saved profile pictures of hers from social media. Then there was something else which I still can't or don't want to believe. One series of pictures shows her ass in a tight dark jeans with some fresh/wet stains of something that looks like sperm on it. He has a fetish for anything that has to do with girls getting messy with sperm in porn and or RL. I felt and feel shocked and can't think of anything else since I found that Pandora's box. I did not talk to him about it yet. He's not suspecting anything, even though I could not act around him normal. Him asking what's wrong, I told him I don't feel very well due to my period, which is also true by the way. So please share your opinion about it. How should I approach this? Should I even approach it? Is this normal behavior? Has anybody experienced something like that? Thank you for your support. Edit. First of all, I want to thank you all for caring so much. Regarding your comments, I feel the need to add some more context. He spoke to me about her regularly when he told me from his day at work, she was his personal secretary/assistant. They also talked private stuff but nothing inappropriate. More like small talk, what did you do over the weekend, stuff like that. At least he told me so. But he always liked trying to make me a little bit jealous. Seemed to be a turn on for him. He tried so by telling me innocent things about other girls that were obviously attractive. Like she has new nails which look way better now, or today she dresses a little bit inappropriate for work. He always did so with a smile. And of course I knew what was going on and what he was up to. And of course he, in retroperspective, talked about her in that way. Most of the time it did not bother me since I was sure it would be something childish he needs for himself. Most of the time I wouldn't even react. He has no social connection to her anymore, not in social media, not in real life. The only connection/contact they do still have is their phone numbers. She sometimes has to reach out to him to ask for some work-related stuff, since not all of his cases/projects have been finished when he left the job. He openly tells me about that when there was contact. Seemed normal to me. And I don't know is, where he has the social media pictures from. I looked it up, they are not connected via Instagram or Facebook and her profile is set on private. He doesn't use any other social media as far as I know. Some of the pictures were WhatsApp profile pics, others probably not. That makes me wonder a little bit. Maybe I should try and hold myself back for a few days and see if the folder is updated regular. What do you guys think? Also, I feel the urge to check on his other devices but did resist so far. Edit. I'm overwhelmed with your responses. Certainly did not expect so much feedback and so much sympathy. Some responses even brought tears to my eyes. I'm pretty collect right now, although I think it'll be another sleepless night. I have a plan. I need to find out since so many of you suspect there is more to it. Tomorrow he will be at work while I'm working from home. All of his devices except for his phone will be here. I will look at them, I simply have to know. I know this could backfire, but I'm being totally egoistic here. He lost his right of privacy the moment he took pictures of this young lady. By the way, I met her a few times when I was visiting him at work and she is a true sweetheart. I'm getting angry writing this at the moment. I will find out and will save the evidence and confront him. Update 1. Didn't sleep a lot, feeling empty at the moment with my heartbeat going very fast. Of course he noticed. He was caring, he always is, and I tried my best acting it's all due to my period plus migraines. I decided to talk to him and give him the opportunity to explain this whole thing from his perspective. Not that I had any hope, but a confrontation was unavoidable anyway. So yesterday on Sunday we met at our house. It is also my house. I told him my sister knew I was here and she would call me in about 1 hour to confirm I'm okay. I have to mention I had no fear concerning violence or something like that. Anyway, better safe than sorry. When I arrived he initially was very reserved and observant. I acted calm and distant. We sat down and he said nothing. So I told him not to waste my time and to say what he had to say. He then asked me what I think I found, and I couldn't help but respond that I found out he was a sexual criminal and that I will report him to the police. That probably was a mistake. His mimic changed and he told me this would be a very bad idea and may result in some serious trouble for me. He claimed he had an affair with his former assistant for quite some time, and this whole sperm/food thing was just a game/bet between them. The bet was he would make her eat his sperm before he left the job. The pictures would be the proof, and he already showed her all of them to win the bet. He said it was just a kinky game between them. The other pics of her ass etc. were also taken consensual. At least she knew about it. So he told me there was nothing illegal going on, and if I would go to the police this would be wrong suspicion performed by me. Also nobody would believe me anyways cause it would clearly be an act of revenge from the betrayed wife. Last but not least, he would know the chief prosecutor personally, which is true. So if I went to the police I would only make a fool of myself and also probably commit a crime. At that moment I couldn't think straight anymore. I reacted emotionally rather than think rationally. I lost it and told him to go out of the house. It got ugly. The result was, he actually left the house. I had no idea if and when he might come back and also felt very uncomfortable in the house. I then packed a few more things and went back to my sister's house where I'm planning on staying for the week at least. Today I called in sick at work. Now I'm no fool, and of course I see him being a lawyer trying to protect at least his career by claiming it was all consensual. He knows me very well and he knows our relationship was over the moment I found the picture. I've always been very strict and consequent in former relationships and he knows that. On the other hand, his claim could be true. I think I'll contact a lawyer as I need one for divorce anyway. Edit, I had to call her. We will meet in about 2 hours in a cafe next to the office. She seems surprised but not concerned. For your context, we already met a few times when I was visiting him at the office and casually spoke a few words. So I'm no stranger to her. I will drag some of the photos on my phone to show her. This whole thing feels so unreal, but if I wouldn't do it, the feeling of not knowing and not being able to do something until next week when I meet my lawyer would be too hard to endure. Update 3. When she arrived I could already see by her mimics she had no clue what was going on and why I asked her to meet me. This turned out to be true. First thing I asked her was, if he contacted her within the last couple of days. She denied. I had a feeling she was telling the truth. A 22-year-old girl, I asked her for her age, could not have lied to my face this calm and collect, I think. So I told her I found very inappropriate and disturbing photos of hers on his phone. I showed her some of the spy pics on my phone and asked her if she knew or noticed about that. She reacted completely irate. The pictures I showed her were normal ones, so nothing about the really gross part just yet. I asked her about their relationship and his behavior towards her. She initially said everything was okay and normal, and most of the time he used to be very polite. But she added that towards the end of his job he used to approach her very often and talk to her about personal topics such as her relationship status. One time he made up a fictional scenario where he said he would ask her out if he wasn't married. When she replied to him she would have said no in that scenario because she would want to separate work from private life. He acted offended and talked her into saying yes. I felt ashamed for his behavior and apologized for him. Then I told her that there would be something else which I needed to inform her about. I told her about the other pictures involving the food. I didn't plan to show her the pictures, but she really wanted to see them. I showed them to her and she literally nearly threw up. She was in a state of shock. It broke my heart, so I sat next to her and took her hand. I told her I'm by her side and will support her whatever she plans on doing. I told her I already left the house and will divorce him. I couldn't help but started crying seeing what he's done to that lovely girl. I asked her if she wanted me to accompany her on her way home, but she said it was okay. She went by car. She will talk to her family and certainly report him and also file a lawsuit against him. At least that's what she said. I feel so incredibly sorry for her, it breaks my heart. At the same time I feel so angry about him and still hope this is just a nightmare. Hopefully I did the right thing. Update 4. One day after I met her, she must have gone to the police and reported him. 2 days later I received a call from a police officer who asked me to show up at his office and bring the pictures I copied with me. Of course I went there and handed them to him. I still own another copy though. He asked me if I wanted to testify, correct word? But told me I didn't have to cause he is my husband. I agreed and told him everything I know, how I found out, how I contacted her. The very next day the police called me again and asked if I was at home. A couple of hours later, 4 policemen, my husband and a prosecutor showed up at our house. My husband handed them all electronic devices, hard drives, old phones, USB etc. They also searched through our house for hidden ones but, as far as I know, didn't find any. My husband told me he was currently living in a hotel room and said he would come back later to get some clothes and other belongings if that was okay. I agreed but told him I wouldn't be there. He said we need to talk, but he will not pressure me and give me time and space. He said he loves me and the whole thing looks more ugly than it actually is. It just got a little out of hand. To be honest, I would have loved to punch him right in his face and or scream at him, but I couldn't say a single word, which was probably better anyway. On that afternoon he obviously got some stuff out of the house, and when I came back, his keys would lie on the table next to a printed email from a craftsman who would come a few days later to repair something with a garage door. Ever since I'm alone at the house and really nothing has happened. I gotta be honest here, I canceled the appointment I originally had with my own lawyer concerning divorce. It's not that I'm having an illusion everything will eventually turn good. I just don't feel ready for it. It's been a little too much for me lately. I will proceed as soon as I find some energy. That's about it. He did not contact me, not a single word. Even though I'm in constant contact with my sister, I feel pretty lonely and sort of depressed. Also, I'm a little scared alone at the house. We've had some pretty bad thunderstorms lately at nights. From what I've read in the previous comments, there was a discussion about where I'm from. Actually put a smile on my face getting so much attention. It's Germany. Update 5. I know a lot of you guys will be disappointed, and that's okay. It was a very though time, lots of emotions, fights, tears, sleepless nights, but eventually he is my husband and I'm his wife, in the good times and in the bad. We are giving it another chance. I will not explain every detail that lead us to this point, but I will say it was not an easy decision to make. We had very good conversations, he really opened up, took care of my feelings and really didn't pressure me. I know what he did was wrong. Of course he knows that as well. But saying it was all his fault wouldn't be fair. She is not that innocent girl I thought she was. Of course I blame him for falling for her, but she must have made it though for him, and in the end he is only human. I know what victim blaming is, but that's not the case here. Again, I will not go into details, but she knew exactly what she was doing. She knew how he likes women's dresses, shoes, nails, etc. She must have been flirty with him from day one, which is for almost 3 years now. I couldn't even blame a man for getting weak, certainly not for finding another valve. She is not an angel. Probably most of you guys will now consider me weak and, best case, will tell if he was gaslighting me. Feel free to do so, it's okay. In the end it's my life, my marriage, my shoes to walk in. For the criminal proceeding, he reached a deal and paid a fine. The money will be received by charity. There was no court proceedings. To this point she didn't sue him, which I think speaks for itself. Anyways, I still love you guys and I'm very thankful for all the support I received. Edit. I feel the need to explain a little bit more on my decision. I married him knowing all of his kinks and fetishizes. I knew the typical porn star look is his thing. Big boobs, big ass, small waist, makeup, full lips, fake lashes, fake nails, plastic. You guys know what I'm talking about. Now throw in her fulfilling most of these cliches. Big boobs, big ass, small waist, all dolled up, lashes, nails, high heels, running in and out of his office, taking care of him always, in a good mood, laughing. She is a smart and confident girl. She knew exactly how she was triggering a 30-year/oh man. She knew he had her WhatsApp. He showed me her profile pictures changing on a weekly basis. Hell, even I think they are sexy. Not saying she deserved what he did, but I now understand that dynamic and what her appearance, having her around all day, did to him and how it must have triggered him. When I was her age, I knew exactly how to manipulate a man sexually. I'm sure most women do, she definitely does. He decided not to cheat on me, not to start an affair. He just chose a wrong exit. He could and should have talked to me. That was the mistake he made, cause together we would have found a way. I'm not prude, not religious, and I don't hate other women, but women shouldn't act surprised they force a reaction in men looking like a porn star. In my experience, men around the age of 30 are nothing different than a 15-year-old boy in the middle of puberty. That combination was toxic. Now on to second story. Defended my daughter when my husband accused her of rejecting a boy due to his scars, and now he's furious with me. My husband and I have been arguing about this all day and I need some outside perspective. My husband picked my daughter, Cindy, up from school and he saw her speaking to a schoolmate that she had previously had a crush on. For context, last year during a sleepover my husband and I overheard Cindy's friends lightly teasing her over having a crush on this boy. My husband also gently teased her with some innocent jokes like Cindy and boy sitting on a tree kissing type of silliness, and he sometimes brings it up randomly to tease her, like asking her if she wants to invite her boyfriend when we go on family outings. She never actually dated him or is even friends with him as far as we know, her dad just likes to tease her. Anyway, apparently over the summer the boy was injured in an accident and he missed the first couple of weeks of school as a result. When my husband was picking her up, he saw them talking and noticed that the boy had significant scarring on his face and hand. When he asked her what happened to him and what they were talking about, saying that the boy looked disappointed, she explained to him about his accident and that he was just asking her out on a date but that she turned him down. My husband was furious at her and scolded her for being so shallow as to reject him because his appearance has changed. Cindy was crying when she got home. She told me all this and insisted she was polite when turning him down and was just not interested in him romantically anymore. I told my husband to apologize to my daughter and that he never should have made her feel bad for turning down anyone's romantic advances. I told him that our daughter is old enough to decide who she is attracted to and it would be cruel of her to have said yes out of pity, thus leading him on. My husband is now saying that he sees me differently and that I should be ashamed for teaching Cindy to be a shallow monster and ableist. He is also angry that I undermined him when he was scolding our daughter and says we should not undermine each other's authority when disciplining our child. I was not doing it to undermine him, I just think it's not healthy to make our daughter feel guilty and shamed for not being interested in someone. I do feel bad for the boy, but I don't think it is anyone's place, neither mine nor my husband's, to tell Cindy she has to date someone or she's a bad person. Ida? Edit. Wow, I did not anticipate this getting so many responses when I wrote it last night before bed. I'm trying to read through all the replies so I can approach this with my husband again later today. I'm also going to have a talk privately with Cindy about the situation. Thank you so much for all the responses. I feel more confident now in my choice to defend Cindy. My husband is not a bad guy. He didn't tease Cindy to hurt her, it was to be playful, and Cindy didn't seem too bothered by it. She would usually brush him off when he made those jokes. I think my husband was short-sighted when it came to this situation, but he is not a bad father and he really loves me and his daughter, even if he makes mistakes sometimes. Update 1. I wanted to address some things first that I saw in the replies. Many comments were either implying or outright saying that if my daughter's reasons for turning down the boy, I'll call him Sam for this post, were primarily because of the change in appearance after his accident, then that would mean my husband was right that she was a shallow monster and I was enabling her. This didn't sit right with me and hurt to hear. But people also pointed out that if the roles were reversed, and it was my daughter whose appearance had changed and was then rejected by a boy, then I would probably be livid at the boy, right? These comments stuck with me and really made me think more deeply about this whole situation, and I'm really glad I was asked these things because it made me realize what lessons I wanted my daughter to get from this situation. I realized that although I would be upset if this happened to my daughter, I would not be upset at someone for rejecting her so long as they treat her with respect and dignity. I would be upset at the unfair situation she was in, but I would never expect some random person to make it their mission to rectify this injustice at the expense of their own autonomy. I would instead comfort my daughter and explain to her that people are like puzzle pieces, not all of them fit together, and that just because a boy she liked wasn't her puzzle piece does not make her any less valuable or beautiful, and one day she might find someone who does fit well with her. The lesson I wanted my daughter to learn from this was that she was not shallow for rejecting someone romantically regardless of the reason, even if it was physical. That everyone is owed human decency and respect, but not romantic affection. Denying someone equal respect and dignity because of their appearance would be shallow, but she did not do that. Her romantic affection is not a commodity to be distributed. It belonged to her and she is not obligated to be fair when it comes to who she wants to share it with. It belonged to her alone, and is a privilege she gets to bestow on someone she likes and who treats her well. A lot of the comments really made me realize how important it is for Cindy to feel like her consent matters, because what could start with just going on a date she doesn't want to go on could one day escalate into her being pressured or coerced into dangerous and traumatizing situations or abusive relationships. Thank you so much to the commenters who shared their stories, which helped me realize how important this way. Some people claimed that I would likely leave my husband if his appearance changed, but sorry to disappoint you guys because I would never do such a thing. I love my husband so much. My relationship with him is stronger than just dating or a crush. We built a life together, and his appearance changing would not change that. We have been married for long enough that my attraction to him and love for him now go far deeper than looks. Maybe it would be a different story if we were just dating and barely knew each other, but things change once you make vows to each other to stick together in sickness or in health. Many people are claiming that my husband is a monster and abusive. It may seem that way if all you know about him is this one situation, but he is a full human being. He does more for this family every day than I could ever express in one post. He has issues with anger in that he often says things he regrets during. But when he cools off, he is always open to listening and communication. I know now how damaging his teasing of Cindy about Sam was last year, and I will make sure that doesn't happen again, but I assure you all that this is something he has done out of ignorance and not malice. He loves Cindy to bits and would never intentionally do something to harm her. Okay, on to what happened yesterday. Husband woke up and left the house early, so I didn't get a chance to talk to him. When Cindy woke up, I made sure she was okay and told her I wanted to talk to her about what happened the day before. Her friend's mom gave her a ride home and she got here before my husband did, so we were able to have a heart-to-heart. I told her that she doesn't need to explain to me or anyone why she changed her mind about Sam, and I explained to her all the things I mentioned above. That Sam was going through something very hard and she should be kind to him, but she does not owe him a date if she is not interested in him romantically. That she isn't shallow and should never feel pressured to do something with someone she doesn't want to do, and that her dad was upset and said things he didn't mean. Even so, he still loves her and so do I. She was starting to cry, so I held her for a while. She told me she was upset more than anything that her dad thinks of her as a bad person. This broke my heart, and so I told her I would talk to Dad about this when he gets home. When my husband got home, I told him we needed to talk about yesterday. He didn't want to at first, but I insisted and told him it was about Cindy's well-being, as she was still upset about it and even thinks that her own father thinks she is a bad person. This upset him and he said of course he didn't think that. I basically explained to him my thoughts above, and although he was a bit resistant at first and insisted that he just didn't want Cindy to become a shallow person, he really listened when I explained to him how people might take advantage of her if she starts to feel like her consent and her desires don't matter. I didn't show him the post I made, but I wrote down some of the comments and stories and told them to him. I told him they were stories I found on Reddit from people who experienced something similar. I didn't show him my post because so many comments were unfairly painting him as a monster and I was worried it would make him defensive. I think it broke through to him because he was really upset at the thought of our daughter one day being manipulated into staying with someone who was hurting her. He went to talk to her privately in her room. I prepared dinner, and afterwards she seemed a lot happier and was joking around with her dad again. Today, they're both planning to go bowling together as well.